Hello, hello, hello. Big and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. We are streaming live from Kolkata, India. So I would like to welcome each and every one of you to the Vedic Maths live show today. So if you're watching this from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, please say hello in the chat box with the city name you are watching from. So today, friends, we have a very, very young and enthusiastic guest with us. His name is Mr. Siddhikant Mishra, and he is a speed cuber, and he can solve the Rubik's cube in split seconds. So that is something amazing which we look forward to. So the topic of discussion today, friends, is Rubik's cube and speed cubing. So a big warm welcome, Siddhikant, to the show.
Hi Gaurav, thank you so much for having me today.
You're more than welcome, Siddhikant. So let's understand, Siddhikant, how did it all begin for you?
So it's actually a really funny story. Like I just came across speed cubing by accident of sorts. So it started off with a colleague of my father coming down to my home, and he was just sort of motivating me and sort of galvanizing me to take up maths and do science and stuff like that. And he said one of the best ways to do it is to solve puzzles. So according to him, that meant was solving problems in mathematics and practicing as many as you can to be more have a better understanding of mathematical concepts or whatnot. But I took that meaning literally. Like I thought by puzzles he meant jigsaw puzzles or uh, playing with the Rubik's cube and stuff like that. So the first thing that struck my head was that if he's saying to solve puzzles, let's just pick the toughest one that's there out there in the market. So the first thing that came into my head was let's pick up a Rubik's cube and try solving. So I went to the market and just purchased my first Rubik's cube. And then I fiddled around with it for a few weeks. I was able to get to a certain point after which it required me to have some really advanced level of intuition and thinking, for which I was unable to proceed further. But I got to almost two-thirds of the cube. Like I was able to solve at least the first two layers of the cube. But after that, it required me to have a more advanced understanding of how the cube rotates. So after
Wow.
that, I just yeah. So after that, I just gave up, and then I looked up the internet and saw if there were any solutions to the cube. And turns out there were quite a few. And I just picked one of them and started fiddling around with the solution that was provided. And so sooner or later, I got to understand how to actually solve the cube. So then I just saw how fast I could turn and stuff like that, and then I was able to get my times down till 1 minute 30 seconds. And I thought back then that like okay, I might be near the world record or something. And then when I started searching up on YouTube, what is the world record back then? To my surprise, it was 6.65 seconds. And
Wow.
yeah, and that was something really shocking to me. I thought like 1 minute 30 was like probably the max you could do on it. So that sort of got me hooked to this whole fascinating world of speed cubing. I started exploring it. Turns out there's this whole World Cube Association which organize competitions for how fast you can solve the cube. And then there are variations also. You can solve it blindfolded. You can solve it one-handed. There's 4x4, 5x5, and many variations of the Rubik's cube. So then I sort of got hooked, and then I started practicing, and then started learning more advanced methods. Started picking up algorithms, and sooner or later, within a year, I was able to get my times down to 15 seconds. And
Whoa.
yeah, and then over a period of time, I was able to get faster and faster. And at a point, I was able to come in the top 10 of India. That was back in 2012, I think. I started in 2011, and then
Whoa, whoa,
but
whoa.
then
We'll cover
yeah.
that. We'll cover that. But first, let our young audiences understand what a Rubik's cube is all about. So if you can share some
Yeah,
little bit of history
sure.
about the cube, so that would be lovely.
Okay, so basically, cubing is all about how fast you can solve this puzzle, which is called the Rubik's cube. It was invented by a Hungarian architect. His name was Arthur Rubik back in the 1980s. And back then, even after he was able to make, once he like sort of manufactured the cube on his own, he himself was unable to solve it. And after,
Ah,
yeah, so it turns out that someone else, I don't remember his name. I think it was a professor from MIT who took 30 minutes to figure out the solution to it. And yeah, since then, things have progressed, and now it's a proper sport. Like how fast you can solve this Rubik's cube, it's a whole like there's a whole sport based around it. So I can just show you a small demonstration of me solving the cube. Just take
yeah,
the laptop.
let's see it. Let's see that.
Yes. So I'm
That'll be
just doing
awesome.
a scrambling, right? I'm just scrambling the pages randomly.
Wow.
Yeah. So this just a random scramble. So I'll just look at it for a few seconds and then start my solving. Okay. So that
Wow.
was 10.5 seconds. I'm not warmed up yet, so 10 seconds. So
We'll do one
that's
more towards the end of the show.
sure,
So
sure,
we can, but
absolutely.
that was amazing. 10 seconds. Wow.
Yeah.
10.5 seconds. That's an amazing feat, I think.
Thank you so
What is
much.
the current record of solving the cube, uh, let's say blindfolded?
So blindfolded. So the official record stands at 17 seconds, I think. That includes
Okay.
memorizing the whole cube. So blindfolded cubing has two parts: the execution part where you actually solve it, and the first part is of course memorizing the cube, like where every piece is on the cube, and then executing. So altogether, he took like I think 7, 8 seconds to memorize, and then executing it in 11 seconds. And then the unofficial record is like 11 seconds. Like he was able to memorize the cube in 4 seconds, which was godly. And then he solved it in 7 seconds. So, yeah. Blindfolded is a really interesting one.
So you mastered the art of speed cubing, Siddhikant. How did it happen? How did you get inspired and that to spend all day with the cube? Some people find it boring, but it's actually a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of
Yeah.
maths involved. So tell us about that.
Okay. Okay. So for me, it was just a addictive thing that, I don't know, because the first Rubik's Cube video that I saw, in which was a world record video, uh, it just came as a shock to me. Like if someone can solve it in 6 seconds, like how would that feel? Like the way he was rotating his fingers, like he was moving around the pieces, that got my eye a lot. And I thought that okay, let's try attempting to at least reduce our times as much as I can. And then when I slowly worked towards that goal, I realized that there are more advanced methods. There are there are places where you have to use your intuition, your aptitude to actually, when the initial part of executing a Rubik's Cube involves a lot of intuition once you reach the advanced levels. So that's sort of the place where it doesn't become boring. So once you reach a certain level of solving, advanced level of solving on the Rubik's Cube, your understanding after a certain point is not anymore algorithmic. You don't have to follow steps. It's all about like how you can provide the most optimal solution on your own. So every time you solve the Rubik's Cube, it's a different experience altogether. Like every single scramble has its own story to speak. So solving it
Wow.
in the most least number of moves and the most optimal solution, that requires a lot of intuition and aptitude. That's the thing that drives us to become more faster. And so that was sort of the motivation behind me, practicing every day and getting better at it. So
That's very interesting, Siddhikant. But let's take a pause here and let's
mhm.
welcome all our viewers once again. So, viewers, a big shout out from Vedic Maths Forum India. And today we are talking about Rubik's Cube and how to solve it in split seconds. We're going to learn that very, very soon from Siddhikant, who's going to show us some of the methods to solve the cube. But let's say hello. We got some messages. Ankit Raj says excited to hear. Then there is the Jakmola who says hello from Noida. Edgar is excited, and Mr. Ankit Raj says hello. He's from Kolkata. And a big shout out to Gaurav Mondal who says this looks super cool. And Shinjini Mukherjee, super interesting and fun. And that's about it for now. So let us see How do you tell me? How do you solve the Rubik's cube? Say if I am a new beginner, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I just saw the cube and I want to try to solve it. How do you do that? How would you teach me?
Right. So I'll just sketch out the method that is the most easiest to follow. So the cube, if you look at it, when you have a scrambled cube with you, okay, scramble it out. So the biggest mistake that people do when they pick up a cube is that they just look at one face of the cube instead of looking at the cube as a 3D object. Like they just focus just on solving one side of the cube without seeing how it affects the rest of the pieces. So if you have
Okay.
that in the back of your mind, that if you have solved one side of the cube, how it affects the rest of it, that's the sort of the first step towards solving a portion of the Rubik's cube. So, say if I solve one side on it, and just randomly I'm just solving the white side, okay.
Right.
But the problem is with this is that it hasn't much help in like if you have to progress from this state on the Rubik's cube. Um, it's a little tough to figure out what to do next because if you just
Hmm.
look at the white face, if hopefully the visual is like you're able to see the cube. But yeah, so if you look at the other pieces apart from the white color on each of whites are all matched up together, but these colors are different: green, red,
Yeah.
red, green. So what you would want is that all these colors should also be the same. All these colors should also be the same, and basically you have to solve one layer on the Rubik's cube. So if I was to solve it in this manner, uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So if I was to solve it like this, with all the colors actually matching together, that sort of builds the base on which we can actually start solving the second and the third layer. So once you've solved one side and oriented all the other colors on that layer, then you are done solving one third of the cube. So this part is done, so you can just keep it on the bottom, and then you move on to solve the middle layer, which is this one.
Okay.
The way my fingers are pointing at it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so once you have done, so I won't be going too much in detail in how to solve the middle layer, but once you're done with that, the cube would look something like this, with the
Okay.
bottom layer solved and the middle layer solved as well. So you're done with basically solving two-thirds of the Rubik's cube, and now you just have to solve the top side of the cube. And that, if you look at the beginner's solution, they have given certain steps to follow. After this point, if you want to solve it using your own intuition or anything, it becomes a little tough for people to actually figure out like how you can proceed from this point. So if you want to learn how to solve the cube, it'll be better if you just look at the solution and figure out how to move around the pieces and get acclimatized to how does the cube rotate after that point. So once you follow those steps, I guess with the cube, you'll be able to solve it. So that's the
Wow.
whole
Wow.
process behind like how you can sort of move towards solving the
Yeah,
cube.
so I'm surely coming over to you to learn how to solve that cube. But tell us, you've been to many places,
Uh-huh.
participated in many competitions as well.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the uh, experiences which you have gone through in the international arena. How do you feel?
All right. So I still remember my first competition, which was so the best part about World Cube Association competitions, it is open for all. Like anyone from any place across the country or across the world can come and compete in any competition. There's no restriction to that. The first big competition that I attended was my first competition itself, and the environment, the atmosphere was exhilarating. Like I wasn't really expecting so many participants. I didn't know that there was this huge community in India with kids all around the country are solving the cube. And back then,
Wow.
there were very less competitions. Like every year, you would have 4 or 5 competitions. So each competition is like a huge event in our community. So over there, I think 5,300 participants had come, And it was my first competition. I was quite nervous. I didn't have the best of cubes also with me because I didn't have that exposure before that. But I did pretty well. I stood fifth in that competition. Like I put in all my hours before that and sort of was able to execute it well that day. And that was a really good moment for me. It was like my entry into the competitive scene. Just 1 second. Yeah, yeah. So so yeah, that's that. And then after a point, once I sort of exhausted my time as a participant in competitions, I thought I should get more towards the organizing side as well. Like since I've already spent so many years speed cubing, I thought it was time to give back to the community. So once I started college,
Wow.
I came to ISA Kolkata. I thought like since World Cube Association is a non-profit thing and like anyone can join in and volunteer and organize competitions. So I thought this was a good stage for me to actually grow the community around my college, around my locality. So that's an even more what can you say? Like of course, there's a huge exhilarating feeling when you solve the cube, but also giving back to the community, organizing competitions, and making sure that things happen on time. That also has a different feel to it, and it's a really great experience. So I got to
Absolutely.
see both of these sides of this whole sport, and that sort of helped me grow as a person, and also it helped me in the long run in some sense. So yeah, this has
So
been my
I
story as far
remember
as competitions go. Yeah.
I remember switching on the television one day and seeing you live from Exide. You were
Oh,
solving. You were the
right,
grand
right,
ambassador.
right. Of course. Yeah, I almost forgot for some reason about it. But yeah, so there was this advertisement in which I was featured by Excite. So they just called me up. Maybe they had seen me in some competition in Kolkata, and then they just called me up and said that we wanted to show a correlation between being driven and solving the Rubik's cube at that level. So that was the whole concept behind the advertisement. And I was like, I'm completely down for it. Like, it'll be a good boost to speed cubing as a sport in India. And it was pretty popular. Like back then, it was quite the buzz around the speed cubing community. Yeah.
Yeah. So apart from Exide, share some of your other achievements in speed cubing. You won so many medals.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was this time in 2016, I think, like there was this statistic, there was this record that was being calculated about how many consecutive blindfolded solves you can do in a competition. And I guess the record for that year was five. And there was this competition in Mumbai again, in which there were two rounds in which we get three solves each. And it turns out that I was able to solve it consecutively six times. So for that year, I was sort of placed on top in the whole world or something for 2016 to have the highest number of consecutive blindfolded solves. So that was one achievement for that year. And then of course, in my first competition itself, I was able to stand top 10 in the Indian rankings. I think I was ranked five in the for the fastest time in India. I think it was 12.32 seconds or something.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that was one achievement. Then after a point, so from 2014 to 2016, because I had my studies and I had to prepare for my entrance exams and stuff, so I had to take a break from cubing. So after that, again, I continued, and I'm sort of in the process of getting back into the mainstream competition.
Wow.
Right now in India, the speed cubing community is really competitive. Like we have got, I think, 30, 40 cubers across India who can solve it less than 8 seconds right now, and
My God.
it's become really competitive. And we probably have the second largest community as far as number of cubers go in the world. So first is the United States of America; they have got their community, and then it's the Indian community, and after that the Chinese. So as far as numbers go, like we are doing really good, and as far as performance in competitions and at the world level, India is doing really good in speed cubing as well. So yeah.
Super. 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 So let's take a moment and give a big shout out to Baivav Kumar Saha who says Siddhi Bhaiya making us proud. So that is amazing, Siddhi. And then we have Mr. Forum Modi who said hello from Bombay, Mumbai. Gaurav Mondal has a question that how can Rubik's Cube help in improving mental math skills? Want to take a shot at that?
Well, so for me, it was the other way around. Like from a very young age, in our schools, like particularly when I was studying, mental maths was a huge thing. Like we had these practice booklets, and it was sort of a practice routine that we did daily. Like we used to do 10 questions every day. So from the perspective of speed cubing, that experience did help because like I was able to discipline myself and sit down every day to solve 10 mental maths problems, and it also helped me in quick thinking and looking ahead. So in some sense, mental maths is also like an algorithmic process. Speed
True,
cubing also
true.
involves steps. Mental maths also involves steps. If you want to like there are some tricks that are involved in calculating some of these questions. Like say for example, 55 into 25. So what you do is like you add this thing 5 plus
Yeah.
2 and 7, and then take out 25 from here, and then you arrive at the solution. So stuff like that, you have those tricks in your head, and then you have then every day you solve, you get better at solving these mental math problems as fast as you can. So that's also sort of a speed kind of an event or
Right.
like a subject, and speed cubing is sort of something similar. And just the thing is that this is a puzzle, you're solving it. You have this three-dimensional visualization kind of concepts that are going into it, and mental maths, of course, involves its own computing type of tricks. So yeah, these two things, of course, go hand in hand. Yeah.
Wow. So that's very well answered. And we have hello from Assam as well. Shubrat Pandit says hello. And then we have Abhinav Anthony Gopal who says, Go Coco, you make your fan proud. Your family proud,
So
I
yeah,
think. That's not family.
my nickname is Coco. So yeah, thanks, Abhishek.
Okay. Hia says this is an interesting conversation. There's a question. Forum Modi says, for solving
Yeah.
the last layer of the cube, do you advise to memorize the formula as I'm stuck there and I'm easily able to solve the first two
So the
layers?
first, I would suggest go ahead and start learning those algorithms, because if you want to go ahead and maybe become a speed cuber at some level, getting used to learning algorithms and like how to execute them fast, that would definitely help. And memorizing algorithms for the last year would definitely be a stepping stone in that direction. But I think that there was this beginner's method guide, which actually it wasn't exactly, he didn't exactly propose algorithms to solve the last step, but you can, once you understand certain concepts as to what goes into making those algorithms for the last step, you'll be able
Right.
to solve it intuitively as well. So but yeah, so if you want to go ahead and reduce your times, then I would definitely advise you to learn some of the algorithms. It's just a matter of sitting down for a few hours and just getting them down. So yeah, forum is it? Yeah. So I would definitely suggest to learn the last algorithms. Sorry, the last algorithms. Yeah.
So I believe that apart from the 3 by 3 cube, there is a 4 by 4 and then there are some other cubes as well, right?
Yeah. So this is a four crossover Rubik's cube. Like there are four pieces each. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, then there are other variations of the cube as well. There's this pyramid looking cube, not exactly a cube, it's called a pyramix. Like it's shaped as a pyramid with one, two, three, four, with four sides on it. So that's
Hmm.
also an interesting puzzle to solve. Its mechanism and running is a little different from the standard Rubik's cubes. And yeah, yeah. So and then there's Megamix, there's Cube, and quite a few new puzzles have started coming up after the main Rubik's cube. Yeah.
Wow. So, so, so there's a question that is, why should any student learn cubing? Parents,
Yeah.
they get confused because they don't know how to solve the cube.
Yeah.
So why should they encourage students to learn cubing?
Right. Right. Speed cubing or just like how to solve a Rubik's cube?
Just how
Because
to solve. Just how to solve.
just how to solve a Rubik's cube. So I think one of the reasons would be is that even if you're following a beginner's guide to understand how to solve a Rubik's cube, that also requires some level of aptitude and at a certain age. So for me, I learned it when I was 14 or 13 years old, and even solving
Okay.
the basic instruction manual to actually get to solve it to the final solving state, it required some understanding and getting used to how does a cube work and stuff like that. So from a parent's perspective, learning a Rubik's cube for asking your son or like if your kids are if they are interested in solving a Rubik's cube, it's actually beneficial for them in two or three ways. One would be it helps them visualizing things in three dimensions. So till then, like
Wow.
I guess throughout the school education, they haven't had that exposure to actually handling, actually visualizing and getting used to three-dimensional objects. Like if you remember, there were these problems back in class seventh or sixth, maybe, in which like you have this cube kind of a structure, and then you slice them up into four or five pieces. Like you just slice it three times like this and three times horizontally, and then you have smaller cubes, and then you paint each side with different colors,
Correct.
and then you'll be asked to find how many number of blue pieces are there, how many number of green pieces are there. So if you don't have that three-dimensional visualization in your head, it'll become a little tough to like sort of picturize it in your head as to like how many colors could be there. So from that point of view, for your ability to solve geometrical type questions in mathematics, I'm just looking at it from a maths point of view. So
True, true,
if you want
true.
to solve geometrical problems and have a better visualization of how things look, in a three-dimensional this thing, then I would say then definitely a cube would help you becoming more efficient in understanding this kind of things. And then of course, I still remember this concept back in 12th. There was this a chapter called solid state in chemistry, in which like every molecule. You had these lattice structures like FCC, BCC, like maybe students who are in high school would definitely relate to that. So they showed how molecules are placed in sort of a cubic structure, and then you asked to find which atom is placed at which position. So because back then I was solving the cube a lot. So that sort of helped me understand those concepts a little better. In fact, my own chemistry teacher back then, he would tell me to bring my Rubik's cube so that I can show them how exactly these lattices look like. So he used the cube
Wow.
to actually give that example. So when it comes to understanding these small little concepts, which sometimes becomes difficult to comprehend at first sight, if you know how to solve a cube before that, or you sort of know how to go around these kind of puzzles, that would definitely help your intuition as to grabbing these concepts as well.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
what I think. Yeah.
No, I could never imagine that Rubik's Cube would have applications in learning chemistry as well. So that's fascinating. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Okay. You see, do you have correlation with Vedic math that if you learn Vedic math, you can be faster at cubing? Or do you think there's any
uh-huh.
correlation which you have
Yeah.
found when you were learning Vedic maths and the
Mhm.
cube?
So that sort of relates to the answer that I gave for mental maths and speed cubing. So both of them involve learning certain steps to get arrive at a solution, and all the steps that are involved are really elegant. Like I've seen some of the Vedic math approaches to solving multiplications, particularly two-digit multiplications, which are really interesting. In a similar fashion, the algorithms that work on a Rubik's cube, that also in a different way, not like of course, the steps are a little different. Like mental maths involves, this computative side of things. This involves, actually rotating pieces and shuffling them around the whole mechanism. But as far as practicing them, and as far as getting more comfortable in following certain steps and algorithms go, Vedic Maths and speed cubing, they definitely go hand in hand. So for me, speed cubing was a little more easier and more like I was able to motivate and inspire myself to pursue speed cubing because I had that backdrop of doing mental maths and Vedic maths from a young age. Like
Right.
for me, it was really exciting to sit down every day and in an addictive way, I was able to solve mental maths problems and Vedic maths problems. I really enjoyed that. And I guess that was probably the same reason why I was also interested and I enjoyed speed cubing as well. So
Wow.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I come to the last question, Siddhi. Do you have a message to your fans like me? I'm a big fan of yours, to students and teachers across the world.
Okay, this is an interesting thing. Maybe not from a point of how beneficial or like anything related to speed cubing in particular. But one message would definitely be is that if you want to be good at anything, whether it's speed cubing, whether it's some sport, or whether it's some subject you want to be good at, or if you're passionate about music, whether you're passionate about dancing, uh, it doesn't matter how talented you are to actually go on and do good in that area. If you're putting in hours every day, if you're practicing it every day, repetition after repetition and repetition, then at the end of the day, you'll see if there's someone more talented than you, and you would be a little nervous whether you are as good as him or not. That doesn't matter after that point. If you have practiced your craft to a certain level. So yeah, there's a saying, right? Talent sucks. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So I would guess that's the takeaway. That's the take home message because speed cubing as a sport, if someone is born with this intuition, with this 3D visualization thing, to some extent he will be really good at speed cubing. But after a point, it comes to a point where like how many hours you're putting and how much you practice is what matters at the end of the day. So that's I guess I take up. That would be my message to everyone who's watching. So yeah,
Nirma Mishra said that we are very proud of you, Coco. All the best on the latter side.
thank you so much.
So,
So he's my relative from United Kingdom. So he's also joining in today. So,
oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. So it's been wonderful chatting up with you, Siddhi, and I hope that I get a chance one fine day to come to your college at ISER Kolkata and learn speed cubing from you. I mean, it's been my passion. I've tried a hand at it. It works sometimes, but I always kind of never given it a serious thought to compete. But one fine day, I'm sure I'm gonna come to you and ask you for
no,
tips on how to solve.
we also had the pleasure of hosting you a few years back at our college as well, where you had come to give a workshop on Vedic maths. So I personally had the pleasure to actually organizing that event. So it was I think a college festival in 2018. So
Yes,
we were able to get that down. So yeah, thank you so much for that opportunity as well. And this one as well.
you're
So
welcome,
yeah,
Siddhi, and I'll remain a big fan of yours. And I thank you so much for answering all our questions and so candidly. And it was awesome having you on the show, Siddhi. So,
likewise,
Forum
likewise.
also
It was a
says a very
pleasure.
interesting conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that's it for now, viewers. A big bow to you, and thanks Siddhikant Mishra from ISER Kolkata, who's a speed cuber. And we will catch up with you again next week, where we share with you some interesting facets of mathematics from the Vedic Maths Forum India. Please share, subscribe, and like, and give us all your love. So thank you for your blessings. God bless. Thank you. All the best. Thank you so much.